When was the last time you looked at yourself in the mirror and asked, "Am I truly living the life I want?" Not the life that others expect from me, not the one that seems right in the eyes of society, but the one that genuinely resonates with my soul. Carl Jung, one of the most profound thinkers in modern psychology, left us with a lesson that few dare to follow: the importance of choosing yourself, even when everything around you seems to push you in the opposite direction. We live in a world meticulously designed to distract you, to keep you trapped in routines, expectations, and an endless stream of obligations that seem unavoidable. From the moment you wake up, you are bombarded with external demands: work, family, responsibilities, social norms, all dictating how you should behave, what you should strive for, and even what success should look like. But here's a truth that many refuse to acknowledge. Every time you prioritize others over yourself, you are sending a silent message to your inner self that it does not matter, that its needs, desires, and truths are secondary. You are ignoring that quiet voice from deep within your subconscious, the one that persistently tries to guide you toward a more authentic and fulfilling life. Jung believed that our connection with the unconscious is not something optional. It is an essential part of who we are. Yet so many people silence it, push it aside, and choose to ignore its signals because facing it can be uncomfortable. That feeling of unease you experience when something in your life doesn't feel right, that is not random. That is your soul speaking to you, trying to show you that something needs to change, even if the mere thought of change terrifies you. Now take a moment and reflect. How many of the decisions you've made recently came from a place of true authenticity? And how many were driven by fear? Fear of disappointing others, fear of stepping outside the norm, fear of discomfort, or fear of breaking away from what is familiar? Jung urges us to deeply contemplate this because he understood a universal truth. Decisions that are not rooted in your inner truth create nothing but chaos and disconnection. The further you stray from yourself, the more lost you will feel. But let's clarify something important. Choosing yourself does not mean rejecting others. This is not about living in selfishness or disregarding the people around you. It is about recognizing that in order to give the best version of yourself to the world, you must first be at peace with yourself. This is the fundamental principle of self-love, a concept Jung explored in depth. Self-love is not a luxury. It is not an excuse to escape responsibilities. It is the foundation upon which all meaningful and authentic relationships are built. When you choose to prioritize yourself, something profound shifts in your energy. You begin to attract people and situations that are aligned with your true essence. It's as if the universe responds to your decision to live in truth, eliminating what no longer serves you and bringing forth what you truly need to grow. But to reach this state, you must first confront your shadows, the parts of yourself that you have ignored, suppressed, or feared. Jung described the shadow as the hidden aspect of our psyche, the one that contains everything we would rather not acknowledge about ourselves. And while facing your shadow can be uncomfortable, it is within this confrontation that true transformation begins. Because when you integrate your shadows, when you stop fighting against them and learn to accept them, you unlock an inner power you never imagined you had. This process of integration does not happen overnight. It requires courage, patience, and an unwavering commitment to understanding yourself. But what you gain in return is invaluable. clarity, the ability to see beyond the illusions you once believed in. Purpose, a renewed sense of direction and meaning in your life. Inner peace, a calm so profound that no external chaos can shake it. You gain the ability to say no to what does not align with you, without guilt, without fear, and without worrying about the judgment of others. But most importantly, you gain the freedom to be who you truly are. You might be wondering, how do I begin this journey? The answer is far simpler than you think. Start by listening to yourself. Every time you feel discomfort, uncertainty, or a surge of emotion, pause and ask yourself, what is my unconscious trying to tell me? Because, as Jung once said, the answers you seek externally are already within you. You just need the courage to listen and the determination to act accordingly. One of the hardest things we do in life is listen to our intuition, especially when it leads us down a path that challenges everything we've built. Maybe it's a relationship you know is no longer working. Maybe it's a job that drains you but feels impossible to leave. Maybe it's a dream you've been chasing simply because it seemed like the right thing to do. Jung reminds us that ignoring these signals is not a sign of strength. It is a denial of our true essence. To choose yourself is to have the courage to let go of what no longer resonates with you. And that is not always easy. We cling to the familiar because change is terrifying. We convince ourselves that better the devil you know than the one you don't. But Jung challenges us to see change not as an ending, but as a doorway, a passage to a more authentic version of ourselves. So think about this. What are you holding on to that no longer serves you? What relationships, beliefs, or habits are you maintaining out of fear? You may feel that letting go of certain people or situations would be a loss, but the real loss happens when you sacrifice your inner peace just to hold on to something that no longer has meaning. The choice is always yours. And perhaps the most important question you can ask yourself right now is, am I ready to truly choose myself? Choosing yourself is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of profound love and deep respect for who you truly are. For too long, society has conditioned us to believe that prioritizing ourselves is wrong, that putting our needs first is somehow a betrayal of the people around us. But the reality is quite the opposite. When you finally make the conscious decision to choose yourself, something truly magical begins to unfold. It's as if a fog that had been clouding your vision starts to lift, and for the first time in a long time, you see things with clarity. The people who genuinely support you remain by your side, while those who only drained your energy, those who never truly valued you, start to fade away. And this is no coincidence. It is the direct reflection of an internal transformation, an alignment between your inner world and your external reality. Carl Jung called this synchronicity, the mysterious yet undeniable connection between your thoughts, emotions, and the circumstances that unfold in your life. When you begin to live in alignment with your truth, your external world shifts to mirror that transformation. It is as if the universe responds to your authenticity by reshaping your environment to match it. However, this process requires something that many people find difficult: radical honesty with yourself. Choosing yourself is not just about making bold decisions or setting firm boundaries. Sometimes it also means acknowledging uncomfortable truths about your past. Perhaps you have made choices that were not a true reflection of who you really are. Maybe you have allowed people to overstep your boundaries, sacrificing your own well-being to please them. You might have said yes to things you knew you should have rejected out of fear of disappointing others. But here's the important part. This is not a reason to judge yourself. Instead, it is an opportunity, an invitation to learn, to recalibrate, and to make a different choice moving forward. Jung believed that authenticity is not a destination. It is a continuous journey. It is a process of learning, evolving, and growing into the truest version of yourself. And on this path, you will face resistance. There will be moments when you doubt yourself, when old habits call you back, tempting you to return to familiar patterns simply because they feel comfortable. But remember this, true growth never happens within your comfort zone. The most profound transformations occur when you dare to step beyond the familiar, into the unknown. The world will not always understand your decision to choose yourself. There will be people who criticize you, who question your choices, who even distance themselves from you because you no longer fit their expectations. And yes, this can be painful, because when you choose yourself, you stop seeking external validation. You begin to realize that your worth is not defined by what others think of you, but rather by what you believe about yourself. This does not mean that you must isolate yourself or disconnect from those around you. Quite the contrary. When you choose yourself, your relationships evolve in ways you never imagined. You no longer chase approval. You seek genuine connection. You no longer settle for shallow interactions. You crave relationships that nourish your soul. And in this process, you discover something beautiful. The right people will always be there, not because they need you, but because they value you exactly as you are. As you begin to live from a place of authenticity, the world around you transforms. This is not magic, nor is it some kind of trick. It is the powerful interplay between your inner and outer worlds. Jung often spoke about how our psyche projects our inner state onto the external world. If you